Hello, folks. Hopefully you can hear us.
Hey, everybody.
We are going to pull that down. Hello. How's everybody doing? Sorry for the slight delay there. Minor technical issues, as always. And by technical issues, I mean me losing track of the time because I got home way later than I normally do. So, sorry. But here we are. After our little hiatus last week, I was not feeling super great, so I kind of took a week off. You may actually hear it in my voice. Apologies if I sniffle a little bit. I'll try not to do that. If I cough or sneeze, I'll try to mute the mic, but just FYI. So, first off, thank you very much to Nocturnal Hymns for following us over the last week or so. Appreciate it. Hopefully you are tuned in tonight and checking this thing out. Samson, how you doing?
Doing good. We're doing really good. Happy Monday again. My
Mondays.
voice is kind of going away on me too here.
All right. Hopefully the lighting is okay. Seems like it might be. We're trying a slightly different lighting setup today, so. Little dim on Samson.
Probably the hat.
Probably the hat. On the art?
Yeah.
See, that's a problem. All right. So we're going to tweak the lighting really quickly. I'm going to put you on mute. Be right back.
It's not as bright as...
All right. How's that? I think that's better. I think that's better. Let us know if it's not, and we will adjust it. So, last time we met, we talked Captain Marvel, but we speculated. Now that we've seen it, we're just going to talk about this for a couple minutes. What do you think?
Are we, should we, spoiler warning?
Oh yeah, spoiler warning for sure. I don't think... Let's try to avoid spoilers because it's still a relatively fresh movie.
Right.
But just in general, what'd you think?
It was great. It was everything I was hoping it was going to be and more. It was amazing. Like, perfect first time outing for a female-led superhero from Marvel side. It was great. It was wonderful. I loved everything about it.
I can agree with that. I really liked it a lot. If you watch our speculation video, you know that, or our Geek Out video, you know that I was kind of out on Brie Larson as Carol Danvers, like kind of carrying the vibe of like a fighter pilot. And I think she actually did. I think she did really well with it.
Yeah, I liked her a lot too.
Yeah, just all in all, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, every casting job in there was amazing. The thing that was really crazy to me is, again, I don't think this isn't like a major spoiler or anything, but the guy who played Talos was also the same, and you can look this up on IMDb, so I'm not spoiling anything, is the same guy who played Krennic in Rogue One. And like, as soon as he spoke, that's all I could see.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Like, no matter how much makeup he was wearing, he couldn't hide himself from me. It was crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was like, that's really interesting. That I've never had that happen before with an actor, but it was just weird. Like, it was totally him all the way through, and I just couldn't let it go for whatever reason.
I'm gonna have to watch it again because I didn't catch on to that. I'm kind of glad I didn't because sometimes that can kind of pull you out of the movie.
It did, definitely.
But it is cool that was him. I like that actor actually. He does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I love what they did with the Skrulls.
Yeah.
I thought the way they ran that with that storyline was really good.
Yeah, it was refreshing, and honestly, I mean, I kind of was thinking they were going to go the other way. Remember, I kept saying I thought they were going to set it up for the next thing, and I thought that's what the Skrulls were. But I'm glad they went the way they went because it was amazing.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yep, it was good. Go see Captain Marvel. It was a fantastic movie. But without spoiling anything, I don't think we can say much more about it because I just want to dive right in.
Yeah.
But maybe in a couple weeks we'll do that.
Yeah.
For now, we're going to get back to our superhero, Procyon, who is our powerhouse, basically. He's kind of the Superman, Captain Marvel equivalent for our universe when you get right down to it.
He's better. He's better. Let's
He's
be
better?
honest. Yeah.
Better than Superman, maybe. Better than Captain Marvel. I really like her. I think she's got a lot of history, so...
I'm biased a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, true. No, don't get me wrong. I love Procyon. Casher says, I heard some critics say she was sort of wooden and aloof, but I disagree. She was literally trying to find herself, recover her memory, so she wasn't sure who she was supposed to be. Yeah, I didn't... Aloof? Sure. She kind of had that cavalier fighter pilot,
Yeah.
attitude. Wooden, though, I didn't think her performance was wooden at all. I thought she was very kind of natural with the, not take anything too seriously type.
I actually
approach.
think one of the things I commented on before was I really wanted it to have some heart, like to be anchored.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably one of the most emotional in terms of story. Like the human connections were probably stronger in this one than I think. Probably more than any other Marvel movie for me.
I actually think that I agree with you, except for maybe Spider-Man: Homecoming. I feel like with Captain America, you've kind of got the Bucky thing, but that was so like they turned it on its head really well.
Yeah.
I like what they did with Captain and Bucky,
Yeah.
but it was just it's expected. It's part of the Captain America story so much that you can't get away from it.
Right.
So him losing him. I mean, spoilers for a movie that's 10 years old at this point, but Bucky getting lost in the war, that's going to happen because it's in the comics. It's part of how he becomes Captain America.
As soon as they announced Captain America with Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
like I think most people were like, "Oh yeah." Bucky.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Iron Man and Pepper, I like the dynamic between them. My opinions on Gwyneth Paltrow aside, I like her as Pepper Potts. The dynamic there is good, but it's kind of weird. It's written as a matter of convenience because, Tony should have a female love interest, and Pepper Potts makes the most sense. And I don't know. In Captain Marvel, I thought the way they took like the friends that she had left behind,
Yeah.
and everything like that, and kind of reconnecting with them, and reconnecting with who she was, I thought was actually, like you said, it was done really well. There was a lot of heart there.
There was.
I cared about that relationship, even though I had never seen it other than in the little snippets and flashbacks you get at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that's what was crazy is they actually built a lot into not a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was kind of nuts, but yeah.
And it was great that they went with the mother as the best friend.
Yeah.
Kind of setting up the...
I so hope they do that.
Oh, man, me
so
too.
hope they do that. That's going to be awesome.
All right, we can't keep talking about it in roundabout terms. We are going to end up letting something slip if we're not careful. So
Yeah.
we're gonna table that. Captain Marvel, great. Go see it. Really good.
Yeah, go see it twice.
Yeah, actually, I need to go see it again. Anyways, so Procyon. We actually left off. We made a decent amount of progress the last time we talked about this guy. You'll forgive me for scrolling a little bit quickly, got all the way to page 6 with everything, kind of scripted out with the panel descriptions and the dialogue and everything like that. Thank you very much, McAfee, for making sure we're safe, or Norton, or whatever that was. But go away right now. So we introduced our villain, Maelstrom, and, another possible villain or a collaborator. Dun dun dun. Yeah, we haven't revealed who that is yet. And so now we're kind of getting into page 7. So this is going to be a little bit later. He's in his 20s, he's in really good shape. He's in fighting form. He's in his costume. We're kind of jumping, going to let you fill in the gaps a little there between when we saw him last, after he tried to fly and fell and broke a bunch of bones, and where he is now. Let's see. If he's in his costume, we've got a little note here saying where did he get this. We have to give him a throwaway line about where he got it. So we have to do that. I don't have any thoughts, any preconceptions or anything like that about this particular page or scene. Really, we'd only conceptualized this up until this point and a little bit past. So this is all uncharted waters. So we're kind of writing it fresh, coming up with it fresh in front of whatever audience we've got.
Just get to witness the magic. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. Sit back and watch the magic happen.
Yeah.
No, seriously, feel free to chime in if you've got any suggestions or questions or thoughts or anything like that. So in this particular case, it's kind of cliche to have him like kind of flying in the air, kind of overlooking a stretch of the planet.
Right.
I don't know that he is at that point in his career where he's kind of taken on ownership of like protecting the world yet, because that's kind of a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe
not even as far as community. You know what I mean? He's kind of still young and brash. Maybe he's just looking out for him and mom at this point.
Right.
What would you do? 20 years old.
He would have had to have done something that would get him on the radar of the mentor character for them to give him his suit.
Okay.
So he would have had to have done at least one or two things that were noteworthy enough that he's in the limelight.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely implied so far that he is a good person. So, I mean, it's not too big of a stretch to assume that he's stepped in and saved maybe
people.
some car accident victims or something,
Yeah.
or burning building.
So if I was in my 20s and I had superpowers, I mean, I wouldn't be... I personally wouldn't be slow playing it. Like, I'd be out there saving people. But that's me.
I would totally be a villain. I don't even...
All right, you saw it here, folks. I'm going to end up the superhero. Samson's going to end up the supervillain.
It would be too hard to... I don't know. It would take a struggle to resist all the temptations of the easy money and the...
I mean, maybe that's how he met her.
Ooh, nice.
You know?
Yeah.
So, like, maybe he...
That actually plays in really nice.
So maybe he does something that catches her attention. You know? Like, maybe when he's, like, 19 or 20 or whatever, maybe he went in and he stole something. You know?
Yeah.
Like, he robbed a store or whatever to try to help pay some bills. And she shows up in her suit and everything like that. And she's like, you know, what's going on?
Yeah. There's
And
a better way.
he doesn't fight her. He ends up talking to her. So she, you know, they kind of form a little bit of a friendship there. I like that.
Yeah, that's good. I like that a lot.
I don't think we're going to show that scene.
Okay.
I think, well, maybe, I mean, we could. We got a whole page here that we could use this for.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So, I mean, we could show, like, him, like, flying to the roof of the building, like, lifting up the skylight or whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, as he's leaving, she shows up, type of thing. And then the last page, and then we can just end it there. And then the last panel on this page can be him in his suit, you know, even a little bit older.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
All right.
that.
So, let's see. Not there yet. So the action summary here is going to be Arthur uses his powers to break into a... He wouldn't rip off, like, a mom and pop place. Like,
What if it was something she's kind of affiliated with, though?
I mean, it could be... I mean, she's got a company.
What if it's literally him saying, like, they have some kind of material I want for my costume, and he's trying to steal something like that? Maybe something he thinks he needs equipment-wise.
Yeah, there you go. So... We don't have to get specific. We can just make it like a scientific lab, like, or engineering style building.
Yeah.
Okay. Owned by big corporation. I don't know the name of this corporation yet. We'll figure that out. Nope. So break into a building owned by big corporation. Goes way out. He gets stopped by the mentor. Fight, talk. And she provides him with his costume and bracers. Alright. So I kind of figure this doesn't need to be more than like...
I mean, really, each of those things could be a panel jump, and it could be
like him
breaking
getting there, him like on his way out, and then them like running into each other, and then him in costume.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking 4 panels.
Yeah.
The previous page is 3 panels, so that's perfect because it was going to bug me otherwise. All right, so we got 4 panels. Panel 1. Let me just... All right, so panel 1. Arthur lands on the roof of a building. He's wearing a black hoodie with the hood up and military fatigue pants.
Probably going to go a little farther into his character there and actually throw the names on those. You know how they have the names sewn into the pants? Because he's not thinking.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Because probably his dad's pants, right?
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, I guess depending on the amount of close-up, pants still have a name tag. His father's name tag on them. All right, so I'm not going to get into the dialogue. We're just doing panel descriptions to start off with. So he lands on the roof of the building. He's next to like the skylight, wearing a black hoodie, military fatigue pants, and right on his butt in big black letters on that name tag it says Rockwell. Because, you know, he's still pretty young. He's not necessarily the smartest guy around.
It's not that he's stupid. He's just not a good villain.
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
That's not what he's cut out for.
Yeah.
That's not what he does. So we've got that. So the next panel we're going to jump right to Arthur. Should he fly out or should he just kind of like jump out?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think, yeah, he's still trying to get the bearings down.
So, but then we're going from him landing on it to him jumping back out. Do we need to show like a short inset panel of him like jumping through the skylight to begin with, or like moving the skylight and jumping down?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to avoid any confusion, I'm kind of thinking about what your buddy said
Right.
regarding feedback for the other thing we're working on. So, trying to incorporate that. All right. Inset panel 1. Arthur casually lifts the skylight. Inset panel 2. Arthur jumps down through the skylight. Jumps down into the building through the open skylight. Alright, so we'll go with that. Jumps back up. Back onto the roof. Do we want her to already be on the roof? Or does he jump back on the roof and then she shows up in the next panel?
I think it would be kind of funny if he pops up and she's just waiting for him.
Yeah. Are we...
So I get the impression from her character
Mhm.
that not much gets by her. She already knows who he is. She knows all about him. She's kind of been keeping an eye on him. So this is him acting a little out of character for her, so she's just there to kind of nudge him in the right direction.
Are we using her name, or are we just going to call her the mentor for right now?
It's up to you. It's completely up to you.
Let's just do this for right now.
You gotta let me know what we're doing. So.
We're not going to.
Okay.
We're just going to call her the mentor for now.
That way I don't let nothing slip.
Okay, so he jumps back onto the roof. The mentor's already there waiting for him, kind of like, sitting back with her arms crossed, just waiting for him.
Yeah.
So panel 3 should be them, like, actually talking. Do you think she's taking her helmet off at this point? Like, is she extending that level of trust to him at this point, or no?
Maybe not yet. Maybe
Okay.
not yet.
All right. I don't think we even necessarily need much dialogue here. Again, this is all kind of just narration, I think.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah, pretty much however he interprets it, right?
yeah. So he's kind of on edge. She's relaxed. I think she's kind of extending a hand to him, either like, kind of a, come with me type of thing, or, even a handshake, whatever.
Yeah.
But just making it very clear that she's not there to fight him. She's there to, make a connection. So I think we're going to go with that. I don't think it has to get much more specific either. All right, so panel 4 is going to show Arthur is in full costume. What is he doing? Is he standing in front of a mirror? I think it's a bit, again, it's a bit cliche.
It is. I don't know. That cliche doesn't work in this, though. I mean,
So maybe, in this case, maybe he's sitting leaning back against that same skylight in this picture, but he's looking up.
Okay.
But he's in his full costume.
Okay. Yeah, I like
Okay.
that.
Hi, Ayla. Cat visitor. Come on. If you're gonna come interrupt, you might as well at least get on camera. Come on. No? She's camera shy. Which is unfortunate because she is a beautiful cat.
There she is.
Yeah, hi. Talk about you. Come on. Nope, you gonna leave now? Alright. Well, eventually she'll be on camera. But for right now, she wasn't feeling it. So, he's in full costume. He's sitting on the roof, kind of with his head resting against the skylight. Looking up.
What you thinking?
I think we can just leave it at that. I don't think it has to get much more complex.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a bigger story for something else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the panels, the panel descriptions. Let's go ahead and toss in some actual dialogue. So again, this is going to be pretty much all narration. So in the first one, Hi. Yeah, you're okay, sweetie. I have to placate her a little bit, otherwise she will continue meowing, and that will make the audio very bad. So, you have to excuse me while I love on my cat for a second. Yeah, you're a good girl. Yes, you are. You know, if you got on camera, you could be internet famous.
Everybody would be like, put the cat back on.
Right? Yeah. Forget the comic book. Show the cats. Cats and comics. I mean, that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's an angle we could take. The internet does love cats. Yeah. All right, you good now? I need to talk to the people. Yeah, good girl. Okay. All right, so he's narrating that first panel. So, in keeping with my habit of making bad decisions, my cat just very aggressively licked my elbow. Yeah, I'm talking about you. So in keeping with my habit of making bad decisions, I tried to steal some gear to make my first costume. So... Turns out that company was owned by a...
Redacted.
Adventurer? No. You know what, Google? That is definitely a word. You can't tell me otherwise. Turns out the company was owned by a high-flying adventurer from a previous era. She had taken in Actually, no, let's take that out. Let's put that in here. She'd taken an interest in me and my abilities and was watching me closely. Once I learned to trust her, costume and I don't think you would call them bracers. Wristbands? Monitors?
Yeah, just bands. I don't know.
Armbands?
Gauntlets? No, they're not gauntlets.
They're really
'cause they're not
gauntlets,
covered.
yeah. And my armbands. We'll just call it that for now.
Sounds good.
Alright, so... cat tax. Yeah, the cat tax. She definitely wanted her, 3 or 4 minutes of head scratches. Alright, once I learned to trust her, she set me up with my costume and my armbands. Good friends ever since. Thought my costume was going to hold on. So I kind of want to give the sense that, like, when you're first learning you're a superhero, one of the things that pretty much every superhero does is they get themselves a costume, a suit of armor, spandex, whatever the case may be. But that's, never the end of the journey, right? It's just, for a kid who's learning you've got superpowers, a teenager, the costume is like, it's a big part of who you are. It's the identity, right?
Sure.
And as a teenager, identity is a big deal.
Yeah.
But once you get that costume,
Now what?
then what?
Yeah.
Like, so I kind of want this to be a moment of him, like, kind of sitting there in his costume, not knowing what the hell to do next.
Okay.
Type of thing.
Yeah, I got you. So we thought this was going to be like everything would be clear once he had the costume.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so he says, I thought getting all that would clear things up. Getting my gear, getting my, I'll just say costume. I thought getting my costume would clear things up, but I felt lost all over again. All right, so that's kind of him saying, I don't know what to do next. And now I'm actually at the end of the pages that I prepped previously, so I need to toss some in there. And that's our other cat. Well, one of our two other cats, actually. We've got three of them. We love cats. They're awesome. They're a bit noisy, but they're awesome.
Well, they're one of the quietest animals, in my opinion.
They can be.
By comparison.
Yeah. I've had some dogs in my life, and they can definitely be noisy. Sorry, I'm just building out a few more pages, folks, so I don't run into this little roadblock again. I know they all say page 8. I'll fix them later. So page 8. All right, so, we talk about him getting his costume. He feels a little bit lost. We're 8 pages in. I think at this point, are we just jumping into that story, like his first big thing? I don't think there's anything else we really need to establish at this point.
No, I mean, really, and then there was the moment the answer came, for terms of direction. Like, I think that's where we're at, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense to me.
Hang on a second. Do we want to... I think we need to take page 6, which is where you introduce Maelstrom, and move that down. I think that needs to be the transition from him going like, I didn't know where I was going, to that happening and him responding to that.
Okay.
So we're going to take page 6, and we're going to it's not going to be page 6 anymore. So we're going to take that, and it's going to become that, and then this. Oops, that's the header. It's not what I want. So this is going to become page 6. That's going to become page 7. Oops. And now we're on page 8. All right, cool. So all we did is flip-flop those 2 pages. But I think that works well. It's kind of the progression of him learning he's got powers, to him getting his suit, to the big, the big reveal, the big moment. So I think that flows pretty well. So then page 8 is going to be him, like, seeing something about the fire on the news.
Okay.
Should he find out about it in so pedestrian a manner, or should he be actively monitoring for it? What do we think?
It's kind of, again, we're getting into a little bit of the cliche territory.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing, as long as we kind of approach it a fresh way. I do like the monitoring kind of thing, like him looking for something that's not too big, but just big enough for him to make a difference.
What does his mom do in the Air Force? I know you said she was a colonel. Is she a search and rescue pilot?
I see where you're going. I like this. Yes.
So, like, she's at home, she gets a call, and she's like, oh, big forest fire just broke out. There are a bunch of campers out there or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
So... Alright. Boom. World building in real time, folks. That's what this is all about. Alright, so... Wait, no, hold on. So she's gonna be running, like, kind of rushing out of the house, like, oh, there's frozen dinners in the freezer. Make sure you get to bed on time. Don't forget you've got your test, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, just because I'm gone doesn't mean you can slack off.
Mom stuff.
Yeah, standard mom stuff. And then she's out the door. Does he immediately go get costumed up, or does he go and, like, turn on the news and see it, and then we show him, like...
Yeah, I think maybe that's a good... this is his mom. So I could fully see him just going.
Right.
But I could also see him trusting her enough to handle herself until he sees how crazy it is.
Right.
So, I don't know. It could go either way.
I don't think he's necessarily even responding to try to protect his mom. I think it's just, like, the news says, hey, there's a lot of people here. And he's like, okay, I don't know if they'll be able to help all those people. I need to get there, and I need to pull my weight.
Yeah. I like
Okay. All right, so. Pardon me a moment, folks. I'm going to mute. All right. I spared you guys at least the audio aspect of that unpleasantness. So sorry. You watched my face get bright red for a second there, I'm sure. But we are at the point where... Alright, so he's going to get into his costume and take off. How many panels do we want this to be? Like, on the one hand, we could almost just say that it's 2 panels. Like, the first panel... So, maybe 3 panels. Like, kind of do it slash diagonally.
Okay.
So you've got the first panel is her, like, just rushing out the door. Like, maybe she's got her cell phone or whatever. And she's... got it in one hand and she's giving him the instructions, and then the next one is a smaller panel kind of in the center, kind of like being like overlapping both.
Yeah.
And it's him like watching the news, and then the next one is the bottom right half of the thing, and it's him in costume flying out of his window.
That works. I actually want to try doing something with this though.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it would be possible and if I could pull it off successfully, but so first panel, his mom running out the door, and then kind of have like a floating TV anchor that's not really in a panel, but just kind of showing up with the little blurbs about the thing, and then the first image be like the fire with like maybe some people trapped, Then the next panel will be like kind of a close up of his face where you can see he decided he's going at that moment, like some determination. And then the last panel will be him flying off. And then we can have the reporter kind of inset on all of it, kind of just breaking down, giving some exposition of some sort if necessary. Or
so like,
I don't know though if we need to, because again, this is a flashback, so I don't know if we need all that exposition. Actually, let's go the way you were saying. I think that works better for it being a flashback.
Yeah.
Because the other way is more of a catching up the audience, and we don't necessarily need that in this particular instance. So
okay,
maybe that's something for the future, though.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Like kind of the like you said, floating or spectral. This is not the right word, but like just the one bit of visual reference that's kind of unanchored from a panel, just kind of following the panels. So
definitely want to do something like that at some point. To be fair, it's not completely my idea, just to be honest. It's something that Todd McFarlane used to do with Spider-Man. There were 3 news anchors for a different channel, and they were always the same people, and they were like a right, a left, and a middle kind of news anchor, and it was always the story from their perspective, and they would just chime in throughout the whole run of his book, which was great.
Interesting.
I really loved that aspect, so I definitely want to do something like that at some point.
That's a cool idea. We could actually do that with some of our like more street level, like investigative style heroes.
Yeah.
Would be kind of interesting to even like any kind of international espionage type stuff.
Ooh.
It'd be kind of interesting to have like different news outlets with like propaganda stories or.
I already know where it's going.
Like I could totally see that. All right, I like that idea. So panel 1. Gonna make a quick layout note here. It already says 3 panels. First panel is the upper left half. Second panel is square / rectangle overlapping the 2 halves. All right. So from the So just kind of a little note from a visual perspective that may not make sense when Samson revisits it later. I'm not sure. But speaking of Samson, let's cut back and let's talk about what he's working on. What do you got going on there?
I'm actually just kind of not really anything in particular, just kind of helping myself kind of build a background for our character. So got a picture of him here kind of as a teenager, looking confused. Maybe him when he played football. Uniform. There's him when he's younger in a kind of baseball uniform. I got a bike on here. Started kind of throwing a little DNA helix in there. Got some of the lightning off to the side here from our new friend that he's about to make. Got a tree kind of burning over here. Was gonna put the earth in the background here with maybe like a little spaceman floating. And then I was just right now actually just trying to figure out where I could fit his mom in on here. But this is kind of just something to help me kind of visualize and build a backstory. It's easier for me to draw when I do that.
Okay.
I've told you about that before. Generally, when I draw, I kind of create entire characters and backstories and eating habits, and like I get kind of weird with it, but it helps for me. So
yeah, I mean a lot of writers will do the same thing. They'll come up with all kinds of notes about their characters that we'll never ever see a published page, but it helps them to kind of figure out some consistency for the character and identify what they would do in different situations. So and it helps the characters feel more real. Maybe a character doesn't like spicy food. And, it may just be matters. A flavor detail. Flavor detail. Get it? Because they don't like spicy foods. That gets added into a scene at some point. Or not. So Oh, you know what? I just realized that my screen is not particularly well zoomed in, so I'm going to fix that. All right, and then I also zoomed in on what you were working on there, so people can see a little bit more of the detail.
Okay.
Looking pretty good.
Thank you.
So, what did he do? The kind of stereotypical teenager with superpowers thing, where he went off and became the star quarterback.
I think. I mean, he. I think a single mom kind of does that with their kids. Like they kind of push them into sports and try and keep them occupied. It helps them stay busy as well,
Right,
type of thing.
right.
So I think it's probably more of that. And I tried to make him look a little menacing on here because there probably would have been a moment where he hit somebody too hard or something. So
I almost think he would be. It would be better to have him as a running back.
yeah.
Because he's just, like, man, it seems like he just hangs in the air and like he makes those catches that you just never would expect someone to make.
Yeah.
So
That works.
and it changes up the narrative just a little bit.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like the center of attention necessarily, because that's always the quarterback, but
Right.
he made the quarterback look damn good. So, all right, so that's what we're gonna go with. Cool. So back to the pages. Actually, what are we at time-wise? We're at 49 minutes. All right, cool. So let's try to finish up this page at least before we wrap up for the day. So actually, let me grab a couple things real quick. So panel 1, panel 2, panel E, panel 3. Love it.
Just making up stuff now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to say barging out of the house. She's just like rushing, not barging.
She's very determined on her way. I don't know how you want to word that. Yeah. She's got somewhere to be, and she's getting.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is me if I ever try writing. I get stuck in a thesaurus, trying to find a different way to say stuff.
So she's kind of barreling towards the door. In one hand, she has her cell phone. In the other, she has her flight bag. She's wearing a blue flight suit with Air Force insignia. All right. So, for the purposes of this, I am going to refer to her as Colonel Rockwell. I'm not going to call her Arthur's mom, because she is more than just Arthur's mom. So, she gets credit as a named character. All right, so Colonel Rockwell. This is just going to be like a litany of, information. Frozen dinners in the freezer. Make sure you get in bed on time. All right. So she's just listing off instructions, right? There are frozen dinners in the freezer. Make sure you get in bed on time. Don't forget your test tomorrow, and you promise to help Mr. Anderson with his rabbits after school. Oh, and, you know, it just kind of trails off at that point. Anybody who wants to name the reference in that little bit of dialogue, please feel free. All right, so panel 2 is kind of the panel that's overlapping the other two, and it's going to be... let's see. Do we want to actually show... We want to show the actual TV itself, right? Actually, maybe that middle panel is like an older school TV.
That'd be cool. Like for
Okay.
the frame and stuff? Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. That's awesome. A little knob and everything on it.
Yep.
I wonder how many people watching this have had to have the joy of being a pair of rabbit ears. Because I know that's something I've experienced as a younger person.
Did we have a rabbit ear television when I was a kid?
I don't know. It was always my experience, though. They'd be like, get up and fix it. As soon as you touch it, it comes in clear. And they're like, hey, don't move.
Yep. Okay, now that I've definitely had. I don't know if I had a rabbit ear TV, but even TVs after the rabbit ear models,
Still
you
used
would
them,
have that
yeah,
where
yeah.
because they had the like cathode ray tube or
Right.
whatever it was, and for whatever reason you'd touch it and all of a sudden the
Yeah, it was great.
because you acted as a human antenna
Yeah.
basically. So I've definitely been there, and
Okay.
I grew up in a that short window between when I was born and before remote controls really became a common thing.
Yeah.
So I definitely had those moments of get up and go change the channel.
Yeah, I had a lot
So,
of those. Don't need
Yep.
a remote, I got you.
Yeah, exactly. A remote's an extra like $75. Why do I need to spend that kind of money? All right.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's cool. So it's in the style of an old school TV. When is this set exactly?
Because I think it's going to be pretty modern, right? I mean,
yeah,
at least like fairly modern. Maybe I've got to think time frame for his dad. It's got to be like early 2000s.
yeah. Because I was going to say if we consider the fact that he is like the modern, like when we actually get to telling the current story for these characters,
Right.
he's going to be 30s,
Yeah.
like mid 30s, maybe late 30s. So if we take him back to the beginning of the 2000s, I mean, that's 19 years. That puts him right at like 17, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured we'd be doing. And
Okay.
to me, the TV kind of makes sense too. Again, this is, look at what I'm doing here. His mom obviously doesn't value TV too much, so
Right,
I kind of just have one to have one because everybody has one, but it's not really what they do as a family. So
Okay, so it's in the style of an outdated TV set, we'll say.
yeah.
All right, so picture shows a massive wildfire with wildfire is apparently one word. There we go. With what is it called when they've got the thing at the bottom of the newscast?
The crawl.
The crawl, yeah.
Which is the worst thing ever that TV came up with. To be
Yeah,
honest.
right. Okay. All right, so that's all it has to be.
You know what? Since we were doing a comic book thing, I haven't actually had a chance to ask you this yet. It's kind of off topic. Well,
Sorry.
did you hear the great news about James Gunn getting rehired?
I did. I'm so sorry, folks. I'm going to mute again real quick.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, so James Gunn getting rehired. I did hear about that.
It's pretty awesome.
I'm
excited, actually.
I saw a couple articles that implied that Disney never really found they never really bothered looking for a replacement.
Yeah, from the sounds of it, they knew what I imagine they sat down with him and they were like, "Listen, we're gonna fire you for a year, just till this kind of blows over," and then.
Because I seem to recall when it happened, when he was fired, he didn't make any particular fuss about it.
He did not. Although the guy who plays Drax, Batista, kind of.
Oh yeah.
I wonder how he's feeling right now.
Well, I mean, he was standing behind something that he thought was important, and so I can respect that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he might be like, "Oh, you could have told me, man."
Yeah.
But then again, it's one of those deals that corporations and famous rich people make behind closed doors. So, anyways, so there's a news anchor. It's a disembodied voice, so it's just the bubble. You don't actually see the news anchor. Lent, as in I lent something to you. L-E-N-T, right? Am I crazy?
No, I think you're right. That's how it's spelled. I don't know if I'm the greatest authority on this, but...
Traditionally inflected Lent in the past tense. Lended appears from time to time, but nowhere in the English-speaking world is it common. Yeah, there we go. Again, Google Docs. Air Force has even lent several of its search and rescue crews to the rescue effort, but authorities say the outlook is grim. All right. So, then the last panel is going to be... We're going to refer to him as Procyon in this panel because he's in costume. He's going out to do a superhero thing. So he's not Arthur anymore. Now he's Procyon. I think we'll just leave it at that, and we'll let Samson kind of decide what the scale is and stuff like that. I'm just saying Procyon soars up and away from his open bedroom window.
Okay.
So, and I don't think any dialogue is needed in that at all. Just shows him leaping into action. All right, cool. So we finished up 2 pages this time around. We reordered some stuff. We did a little bit of world building for Colonel Rockwell. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So we see him kind of, we frame the crisis. We show him jumping into action to go deal with the crisis. And then next week, we'll actually show him actually dealing with stuff. Maybe not necessarily panicking a little, but just, kind of improvising, doing the best he can, saving some people. And then we'll go from there. I think we should do a couple pages of that, where he's trying to save some people, trying to minimize the effects of the fire, and then at that point, I think he should encounter our mystery guest.
Okay.
And there should be several pages of that little conflict, and then we can kind of get into the fallout from there.
Okay.
So
I like it.
Cool. It's always good to have an idea of the pacing in mind. Right now we're up to page 8, so we're going to be starting on page 9 with our next issue, or our next session, I should say. Pardon me. Yep, make sure my numbering is right. We're aiming for about 22 to 24 pages with the book, so we want to make sure that we're not leaving too many pages at the end, but we're also want to make sure that we're not trying to cram it all in the last 3 pages. So here we are. And just as a reminder, we did, at the beginning, thank our new follower. Thank you to all of our followers. First off, we do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
But don't forget to let your friends know about our stream. Have them come check out the channel and follow us because we have raffle stuff. We have prizes and whatnot to give away. So for every follower we get, that whoever follows us, they get an entry into the raffle. If you comment on the stream, you get another entry. If you check us out on YouTube and like or subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment on the video, you get additional entries. And once we get to 50 followers, we're going to do a drawing for the stickers, which you can see on screen there, the pin, which is the guy, the manipulator dude right in the center, and a piece of art from the comic that we're working on. Whether it be concept art or character sketches or character turns or a copy of the pages,
Right.
whatever the case may be, you'll get something cool from this signed by Samson and me if you want. Also, we're going to be at WonderCon in 2 weekends, right?
Oh, yeah. It's coming up quick.
It is. So if you are going to be at WonderCon, you can find us in the gaming area. Just head on back there, look for our manipulator, the dude with the squirrely eyes. He's a big purple and green banner. It says Villains and Henchmen on it. You can't miss it. So come check it out. You can win that really cool piece of art that Samson did last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's show that off. So this is the finished version.
I don't know
if you want to maybe show it to that camera. Yeah, just set it on the table, I think, and it should. There we go. So that doesn't get the whole thing in frame just yet. Let me fix that. A little bit of movie magic here. All right. So it's a little bit of Captain Marvel fan art in honor of the Captain herself. You got Procyon over there on the right. You got our adorable little mascot Ravi hanging out over there on the left. Captain Marvel in the middle. So yeah, if you come find us at WonderCon, we will have a ticket raffle where you can win this really cool piece of art by Samson himself. So
Yeah. And I'll probably do sketches and stuff too. I'm
true.
Sure.
Yeah.
Come play the game, get a sketch.
Yep, we're going to be testing out some new stuff, so come on and try that out. If you've played the game before, come check out some new stuff. If you've never played, well, you're in for a treat. And I think that's it. We really need to plan our outro a little bit better, so we're not trying to cram it all in at the end.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's cool. You can always watch this back. You know. Follow us on Instagram at ravensdale.publishing.
At Sour Muse.
Sour_muse.
Thank
Just
you.
so nobody misses you.
Yeah.
And we will see you next Monday for another Ravensdale Writes Comics. This Wednesday, I'm going to be doing another D&D Behind the Screens episode for the Ravnica campaign. So join us whenever you decide to join us. Yeah. Thanks very much. Have a good night.